This is Sue Petrisin, and we welcome you to tonight where we will have a discussion or give our candidates for Kiwanis International Trustee an opportunity to answer some questions for us tonight. You're welcome to put some questions in the chat. I do have a list of 47. We probably won't get to all 47, but no, I'm just teasing. We will, I have a number of questions here. You're welcome to put questions in the chat as well if we can get to them. There is a plan to go next week to a second session so that we have time with there being 5 candidates to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions. For those of you that are joining us for your first time, this program is being recorded and it will be downloaded and put on the YouTube site for Voices of Service with Sue P. I'll make sure that you get that link as well. And we'll also post the video in the Kiwanis or in the Michigan District of Kiwanis and my personal Facebook pages so that you can get to them. But the video will be out there for everyone to see, and you can share it at that point if you wish to do so. Additionally, we are finishing up the recording of the podcast for each one of these individuals. And once I get all them complete, I will release those videos as well, so that as a podcast, so that people can listen to the audio part of that. So I will let you know when that happens as well. So tonight we have 5 candidates for Kiwanis International Trustee. We have Joe Schwartz, Eric Paul, Scott Sims, Don Peterbrook Hodges, and Larry Forsberg. And the way we're going to run tonight is that we are going to allow each candidate to do a 2-minute introduction. They will get 2 minutes to answer each question that we have for them, and then we will do a 2-minute closing. And we will leave all the candidates on the stage, so to say, at the same time, so that they will just rotate the questions and answers. And we will have that opportunity so that you can participate with that regard for them. If you are joining us late, we do have a couple of individuals that are watching the participants list so that we can make sure that we have the everybody turns off their camera and their audio except for the 5 candidates who are on stage. So with that, we'll get started. We drew numbers before, and our first person to introduce themselves will be Dawn. So Dawn, you're on.
Thank you. My name is Don Peterbrook Hodges. I am from the Carolinas district. I actually live in Greenwood, South Carolina, in the upstate of South Carolina, away from the hurricanes mostly. I am married. I have one son. He's an 18-year-old college freshman at Clemson University. I will say that I'm a graduate of the University of Kansas with a master's in social work and a law degree, and I have spent my career working for civic and nonprofits. I'm currently attorney for the Department of Social Services in the state of South Carolina, handling child abuse cases, neglect cases, and elder abuse cases. And I've spent my entire career working with children's issues. That's always been a passion of mine. I've always volunteered since I was a child. It was something my mother made sure that we did. I have been a Kiwanian since 2000 when somebody asked me to come to a meeting and join their club, which is the best way to get somebody to join a club. I've obviously served in a lot of positions in my district, as all of us have, up to governor, membership chair. I'm the assistant district administrator for CKI. I'm the youth protection chair for the district. I have volunteered with Key Club and Circle K, Action Club. And I will say that I am a firm believer in the saying that from whom much is given, much is expected. And I have been given a lot of blessings. I have been given a lot of skills, a lot of education, and a lot of experience. And I feel it's my duty to use those as best I can to help other people in our community. And doing that through Kiwanis is the best way I've been found that I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Second, Scott Sims.
Yeah, greetings from Birmingham, Alabama this evening. Thank you for joining us and for giving us this opportunity. Certainly, Past President Sue, thank you for all that you've done in the past for Kiwanis International and for the great work that you continue to do. I am delighted to be with you tonight. I'm married. My wife, Andy, I actually met Andy through Key Club. We were in high school. She was 2 years behind me, and we have 4 kids that range from age 20 to 29. So we've just recently become empty nesters. The theme of my campaign is passion leads to results. And I guess by way of intro, let me tell you where my passion from the K family originates. So it's really a 40 plus year love affair. You know, we say kids need Kiwanis, and I think more so today than ever before. But I certainly know that they needed Kiwanis in 1980 when I started high school, because I was one of those kids. So for me, I'm not here tonight just for Kiwanis. I'm really here because of Kiwanis. I'm just a product of the great work y'all do. And because of people like you, there was a Kiwanis club in my community, and they sponsored a Key Club. And I really can't overstate the impact that those 4 years had on my life. 3 years on the district board and ultimately serving as Key Club governor. For me, it's just been the gift that keeps on giving. All of us on this call have had the opportunity to bless kids and serve kids and meet their needs. I just was on the receiving end of that many years ago. And it's something that I've not forgotten, always intended to be a Kiwanian. And the positions that I've held so far and the one that I seek now are really just my effort to repay a debt of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Larry?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for giving us all the opportunity to do this, and thanks for everybody who's showed up and everything. I've been a volunteer for a long time. I've started out as a volunteer. Actually, somebody when I was in grade school says I should be an altar server, so I've been an altar server in grade school, high school, and even while I was in the Navy. I was in the United States Navy from 1968 to 1971. I served a year and a half of that in the rivers in Vietnam. I was with the Mobile Riverine Force. Later, I went into JCs. I've been in Kiwanis for 32 years. Done a lot of different things in Kiwanis. Hopefully, continuing to be a leader. I've also been, I'm an elected, publicly elected trustee on a regional board of education. I'm also the chair, currently the chair, and have been for 6 years, of the II District's Kiwanis Neuroscience Research Foundation. Every year we give about $150,000 out to our 9 research doctors, and they've been good in trying to find cures for things, and they've been successful with spina bifida. When I joined the Sycamore Kiwanis Club many years ago, most of us were still working, all the members, and now they're all still members, but now they're retired, and we really never got our own replacements as young business people. So I want to concentrate on getting people to become part of their community as volunteers, but also where they can help themselves and their business. And I think we've lost part of that idea of service.
Thank you, Larry. Eric?
Thank you, Sue, and I appreciate the opportunity that you and the Michigan District has given all of us to express some of our ideas and theories about running for Kiwanis. My name is Eric Paul. I'm from the Kiwanis Club of West Seneca, New York. That's in suburban Buffalo, first ring suburban Buffalo. I've been a proud member of that club since 1983. And the first number of years of my Kiwanis involvement were based on SLP volunteering, because I admired those who helped out when I was a member of Key Club as a club officer and lieutenant governor, and then as a Circle K-er, as a club officer, district secretary, governor, and as a Circle K international vice president. But later, after I served as a lieutenant governor in Kiwanis and then as Kiwanis governor for New York, I got more into membership, the formula team, because we all know that more members means more service, and more clubs means more members means more service. And my key has been, an emphasis has been, not just getting more members, but making those members into Kiwanians. And that takes a bit of education and training and a willingness to show what a great organization we are. And I would be honored and proud to have one of your 3 votes in Denver this summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We'll now turn to Joe.
Okay, thank you everyone for allowing us this time to share about ourselves. I am Joe Schwartz from the Great Kansas District. I live in the small town of Abilene. This July, I will have been married to my childhood sweetheart for 47 years. We have 3 beautiful daughters. We have 3 perfect grandchildren, one of each, a boy, a girl, and a bonus. And I have always worked customer service jobs. I can see the big picture of things, and I also know that there are at least 101 different steps to take before you can reach your goals. I was self-employed as an artist slash author. I wrote a book on how to burn realistic portraits, and I had an art gallery for several years. A little about my Kiwanis life is that 20 years goes really fast. When I looked up my date when I joined, I was like, I can't believe I've been in that long. And I have served in all positions from greeter to governor. I have helped open clubs across the United States, in my own district, and in Africa. I am currently a member of 3 clubs. I serve as the secretary for my local Abilene club. I am a club coach for one of the new clubs I helped open, and I, like Dawn, am a youth protection person for our district. And even though we're from a small town, I consider myself as a global Kiwanian because I one morning was talking on the phone to a Kiwanian in Malaysia and also typing on WhatsApp to a future Kiwanian in Uganda. So I am very thrilled to be sharing my Kiwanis story with you guys. I'll stop at that one.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, our first question tonight goes to Scott. What motivates you to serve as a trustee for Kiwanis International, and how do you plan to balance this position and this role with your other commitments?
Well, I mentioned the passion that I have for Kiwanis, and I mentioned where it comes from, the difference that it made as a young person in my life. I have benefited my entire life from those experiences. Not only did it give me certain skills that I use to this day, but also just the network, the relationship, and then just the joy of having my life enhanced by the service. I'm running because I care about the future of Kiwanis International. Our number one issue probably at the moment is membership. And it's so important. We do phenomenal work. Our work with our SLPs, the service that we provide to those in need. But if we don't reverse the membership problem, then all of that's at risk. When I became governor of the Alabama district, we'd had 22 consecutive years of net declining membership. Not a single year of growth. And I knew that's a story that if it continued, would not work well, would not end well. And so we set an ambitious goal to build a new club in every single division. And this was in a district that had only built 8 clubs in the past 10 years. Very pleased to tell you that we were successful in that club building effort. And as a result of that, we had a net gain in membership for the first time in 22 years, but we also led North America in net percentage gain, putting new clubs in new communities. So realizing that that's an issue throughout Kiwanis International and other districts, that's something that I want to be a part of helping. So that's my motivation for running. And as governor, I spent over 1,200 hours that year. When you care about something, you can balance the time. I have no worries with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Larry, same question. What motivates you to serve as trustee for Kiwanis International, and how do you plan to balance this role with your other commitments?
Well, that this is going to be my commitment. There was a lot of thought, and I've had some great direction from our past international presidents who've obviously gone through these chairs too. And between Brian Cunat and Paul Pelazzolo, Jim Rochford, I've learned a lot from these guys, just being around them, the osmosis of it. And we really have to address the membership. I think more in retaining membership. I think we are such an old membership. Our attrition rate via death is something that we look at in our club. And so we really need to make sure that we're replacing ourselves in our clubs. I firmly believe that I'm still a working stiff. And I joined Kiwanis, and I thought initially that, hey, this is going to be good. I came out of JC's, and I thought this was a good way to enhance my business. And it doesn't take long after you get into Kiwanis to realize there's a much bigger purpose than one's business or anything. But we've always had morticians and bankers and lawyers and Indian chiefs and stuff. Now they're just old bankers, lawyers, Indian chiefs. They're not working anymore. And I think there is a way to find these new young people that are in our communities and show them the value that they're going to get from membership, the value that they're going to realize in their business, in their family life, and in the community. Plus, I think we need to work on our major metropolitan cities. Chicago is I'm originally from Chicago. It's fertile ground for the things that we can do to benefit young people and getting them in their SLPs.
Thank you, Larry. Eric.
Thanks, Sue. You talk about motivation and how this is part of our lives. Well, in my life, Kiwanis has been a part of my life for over 50 years now, when you count my Key Club and Circle K time. So it's always been a part of me. But quite honestly, my family comes first and still will. I have a son, and I have a beautiful 7-year-old granddaughter. But Kiwanis has always been a part of my life. It's been a part of what I've done. It's been part of the choices I've made. And it continues to be one of my priorities. On the side, outside of Kiwanis, aside from family, I'm a volunteer firefighter. Even today, I responded to calls to an EMS call in a house fire. I've been involved with the political parties in town, chamber, but Kiwanis is my top priority. And I think that as we go forward, and my seeking this role at this level is a progression of what I've done, an accumulation of the experience I've gathered over the years, and the experience and the offices I've held. And I think I can make a positive, meaningful impact serving as a trustee on the international board, and I welcome the opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Eric. Joe.
Okay, what motivated me to run for international trustee is all of the things that I have learned about Kiwanis. When we first join, it's all about your local club and what you're doing for the people in your community. I thought that was the best thing ever. And then you join in with your divisions and your districts, and you see how large we're making a difference in the world. And then when I became the global Kiwanian, I discovered how different they are over there. So it really made me say, we need a voice on the board that can speak to some of these issues that are happening overseas. And how will I balance that in my life? I love Kiwanis. There's no need for balance. I've been doing almost 12-hour days sometimes, because I'll start talking with the people in Africa at 4 a.m. And we're still going now tonight at this hour. But I always love talking Kiwanis to anyone new. I love opening new clubs. So that's, everything about Kiwanis is motivating to me. And I want to have a chance to give back and help mentor to the other districts.
Thank you, Joe. Dawn.
Yeah. So I think my biggest motivation comes from just generally my love for this organization and my desire to see it flourish and thrive and continue to be an operable organization. I mean, we see what's happening to so many civic organizations in this country, and churches and things like that. But I think about if we lose Kiwanis in our communities, we're losing all of those service projects, all of those service learning programs for the youth, and all the money that we raise and help distribute in our communities. there's just too much we would lose, and I really want to see that continue. And I will say that, I'm one of those people that's always been asked to serve on a lot of boards, like we all are, because we are so committed to our communities. And a couple of years ago, I just had to decide that I wanted to spend more time just with Kiwanis and just with my church, so I can be more fully involved in those two things and more deeply involved in those two things. And so that's what I have done. And that's the choice I've made of what I want to focus my time on. I will also say that when I was governor, my son was younger and he could go everywhere with me. And now he's in college, and it turns out he does not want to spend all of his free time talking to his mom on the phone. I am welcome to come up and visit him if I buy him dinner. But I've ended up with a lot more free time this year than I'm happy to admit. So I think we're good.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay, Larry, we'll start question number 2 with you. How do you envision Kiwanis International making a global impact?
Well, I think we've demonstrated in the past between IDD and the Eliminate project that we can successfully make a global impact as far as people in countries that really need our help. We are in a position, as most of our Kiwanians, that we can help people in other countries, other people who are less fortunate in our own communities. And I think that's what drives most of us. But globally, Rotary is out there. Lions Club is the big club in the world. Many of the people know I spent some time down in Mexico. Lions and Rotary are huge. In my little community down here, there's 3 Rotary clubs. There's no Kiwanis Club. So globally, our country, our neighbor to the south in North America has about 300 million people, and there is no Kiwanis Club anywhere in this country. And we are in Taiwan. We know all of the countries over across the globe that we are, but we have no Kiwanis clubs in Mexico. I know it would be a huge task, but I think there's a way that we can do something. I have people that I've talked to down here when I wear a Kiwanis shirt, and I go, "What's Kiwanis?" And then they usually mess up the name. But I've got people who I told what we do, and they say, "Well, if you ever start a club, let me know. I would love to do that." So from a global standpoint, while it's a big ask of KI to get involved, but I think there's a lot of opportunities in Mexico, because I just know so many people and young Mexicans that could benefit from what we do.
Thank you, Larry. Eric?
I think that Kiwanis, to be effective globally, first of all, we have to do more self-promotion. People don't know what we do. And what the old story, Rotary has the money, Lions gets the credit, and Kiwanis does the work. I believe that's true. But if we don't toot our own horn more, let people know what we do with IDD, what we did with neonatal tetanus, and maybe develop a next project to roll out and make an impact across the world, and let people know this is Kiwanis doing this. This is your local Kiwanis club, your statewide group, this is an international organization that really makes an impact. We have to be more, to some degree, self-promoting and talk about what we do and the great things we do and the great things we accomplish, because I think it'll bring more people, and then more people means more service. And that's what I would advocate. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Eric. Joe, same question.
To envision making Kiwanis a global impact, is that what it was?
Correct. How do you envision Kiwanis International making a global impact?
Okay, I believe we are on the way, since we have opened up in so many different countries. My view on that is we have to be careful that we're not moving so fast that we're making errors when we open. I think we talked the other night about sticking with a club when you do have a new club open in a new country, you need to stay with them for at least 2 years, if not more. Some of these clubs I've helped in Africa, they're only 3 years old, so they are brand new, and we do have the opportunity to stay with them. But it is fun to talk. Like we said, the IDD, that was over with by the time I joined, but I got to be in on the ground level for Eliminate. And that really opened my eyes when I saw how all of our clubs around the world were uniting together to buy the doses of insulin for the women to inoculate them. I was like, isn't that a wonderful thing? So when you tie on what the other candidates have said, we do need to toot our horn a lot more. But I feel like we really are on the right track.
Thank you, Joe. Dawn, same question. How do you envision Kiwanis International making a global impact?
Yeah, clearly we have made a global impact with the iodine deficiency, the IDD project, and the huge impact that it has. I've seen where that project has been credited with raising the worldwide IQ of people just by iodizing salt. With the Eliminate project and in the clubs, I agree with Joe's, just seeing the clubs and how involved they individually got with that, with places they've never been and people they've never met and things that they don't have to deal with in their daily lives. When I was pregnant, that was not something I was ever worried about. And also with the Brick by Brick project, that you see that the SLPs and the building schools in Africa through that project, we are having a global impact. I think it also goes to clubs growing in other parts of the world where, we see they're expanding so much in other parts of the world, whereas in the US, we're shrinking in our district sizes and district numbers. So I think there's a lot of opportunities around the globe. Not saying we shouldn't still focus here in the States. That's not at all what I'm saying. But a lot of opportunities that are clearly very eager for our organization to help them in their communities.
And Scott, that question, how do you envision Kiwanis International making a global impact?
Well, so I agree with all of my colleagues. I do think we have made a global impact. So the real question becomes, how do we enlarge that? How do we enlarge our vision? And I think it's just always so critical to dream big, to think big. I view this question, it makes me think of the membership issue when we're inviting new members or when we're building new clubs. I believe in Kiwanis. I believe in our mission. I believe in the work that we do. So I'm always eager to ask someone at an individual level to join, to share that blessing. They're going to get to be a blessing to others. And they're going to receive a blessing in doing so. I think about that with new club building. I just feel like every community deserves a Kiwanis club, deserves the opportunity to have that experience. And so when we talk about global, two things occur to me. One, I want to share that experience with the world. I don't want to just keep it with where it is. I want us to look for every opportunity, because these are people, these are families, these are kids all around the world with many needs. And there are needs that we've already shown that we have the experience and that we're equipped to meet. You can't go everywhere immediately, but I hope we'll be very strategic, and that in our hearts, we'll just be motivated to not just retain this and keep it for ourselves. Certainly, I love the work that we've done with these two major projects. I hope we'll always have an initiative like that. I love to tell people that story so that they realize that the important work they do at home, which is essential in their communities, they're also a part of something larger, and they're able to make this worldwide impact that they couldn't do individually. Collectively, we're so much better. So that's an exciting question, and I think there are many exciting opportunities ahead.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, we will start with Eric. Eric, tell us your Kiwanis moment.
Oh, my Kiwanis moment goes back, and I don't think it's been exceeded. I was a key clubber. And one of my first projects we went to, not too far from where I am, is a developmental center. And we went at Christmas time to sing Christmas carols. And one of the little boys with the developmentally challenged population stopped me and said, "Thank you for being here. No one else came to see us or do this." And that made a difference to me. And it still resonates. So that was it. It
Thank
still
you, Eric.
is strong with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Joe. your Kiwanis
Okay.
moment.
My Kiwanis moment was truly being involved with Eliminate from the very beginning. So that touched at my heart. I don't know any women who would give birth to a child and think of them having to go through tetanus like that when it could be avoided. And everyone in our district just jumped on the wagon to help. It was the best time of everyone pulling together. We made shirts to sell. We did all sorts of things extra that I had never seen us work as a team. And I mean, not only district-wise, but globally, that we all worked as a team for this project. It was my proudest moment, and one that I say, look what we did. Look at how many countries now have scratched off that they have less than 1,000 deaths per birth. That's not saying a lot, but you know, that's your goal. So that was mine.
Thank you,
Among
Joe.
many.
Like, Dawn, same question. What's your Kiwanis moment? You're muted.
Sorry, try and be polite, and that's what it gets me. So I would say, you know, when I think of my Kiwanis moment, I think of the first time it really struck me that I was a Kiwani and the impact that it was having. You know, I enjoyed the group that I was meeting with. They were fun. We had fun, interesting things went to speak. But I was doing, so from the get-go when I've joined, so I've gone to the same school since the year 2000, passing out terrific kids awards. And at this, every school does it different, even in our club. But the one I go to, the first Friday of every month, we go to every classroom in that school and pass out awards. So a lot of the kids see us and we kind of hype them up and, you know, talk about how hard it must be for the teacher to choose and all of that stuff. But, you know, and I get lots of hugs and handshakes and high fives, whatever they choose. And I always thought it was fun. And I can still remember being at Walmart and after, you know, the first year and this little kid coming up to me, "Oh my God, you're the terrific lady." And I thought, well, yeah, her mom got very anxious and stranger danger kicked in, but I explained to her quickly who I was and she calmed down. But that a child, that it had that big of an impact on a kid just when we come into their classroom for 5 to 10 minutes, you know, once a month, and they know who we are when we're out in public. It really made me realize the words we say when we're around those kids really matter. Thanks.
Thank you, Dawn. Scott, what is your Kiwanis moment?
Well, I was telling you that about the impact that gives rise to my passion for this organization. And it's really 44 years of moment after moment that accumulate over a lifetime. And quite frankly, it's hard to narrow it down. But one of the most significant ones, when I was elected Key Club governor, I was so excited, but I was concerned. We were in some serious financial difficulty, and that created stress. And I went to a Kiwanis meeting following my election, and they asked me to stay after the meeting and meet with the board. And they made a motion to give me a check for $2,000. And I can't tell you the impact that made on me, the stress that it relieved. I mean, I needed to buy, you know, coat and ties to wear back then. And you know, it was moments like that you said, you know, I know I want to be a Kiwani. I've certainly had those moments with my kids. My son was Key Club governor. And when we arrived back from the convention, he laid the governor's home club banner on our dining room table and it sort of flipped over. And he said, "Dad, look at this." And there, I had forgotten that it was a tradition where the governor would sign the back of the banner. And he said, "Hey, Dad, there's your name. Can I sign it by your name?" And, you know, if you're a parent, you know that that moment probably meant more to me than the following year when he was elected Key Club International President. So many of my moments, you know, my family is just part of the K family. It's just part of who we are. I actually proposed to my wife at a Key Club convention on a Saturday night at Decon in front of about 800 Key Clubbers. And that may not sound very romantic, but it was special to us. And thankfully, she said yes. So just moment after moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Larry?
That's good. Some good tales there, Scott. You know, like Scott, I've just had a whole bunch of reasons to stay with this organization. After becoming governor and paying more attention to statistical information and global initiatives and stuff, it would be easy for some people to bail ship. And but this is an organization that just it just gnaws at me that we need to do better all the time. And I think the thing that got me going, our club and our district support the Kiwanis Neuroscience Research Foundation, formerly known as the Spastic Paralysis Research Foundation. We changed the name a number of years ago, but the fact that got me was in 1951, 99% of babies that were born with spina bifida died. And they died within 6 months in most cases. Sometimes they lived to a year. There were 300 men in the downtown Chicago Kiwanis Club. Among them were a bunch of doctors who said, "This is really ridiculous." And so we had some very bright doctors who and others who started our Spastic Paralysis Research Foundation. And as a result, today, 99% of those children born with spina bifida, they live, and they live for 3 or 4 generations. And when I heard that I was a part of an organization that actually saved children's lives, and these are not mentally deficient, this is spina bifida, these are very mentally unchallenged people. They're college graduates, they're educators. And so to be a part of an organization that literally saved lives locally and globally was pretty important to me.
Thank you, Larry. I think you can hear everyone's love and desire for this organization and dreams for what we do as an organization. Okay, Joe, we'll start with you. Next question. How do you ensure that Kiwanis International remains financially stable?
By helping pass an increase in dues this year to try and talk to everyone we know why we need that. I know we had our international trustee came and talked to us last year, and we completely agreed with him, and we were prepared to do the $35. And in fact, my own home club raised their rates to a $48 increase I mean, we had been spending $10 a month for, I don't know how many years, 15 years maybe. And then when we started talking about the cost of increases to everything, we needed to get ahead of that. And the president at that time said, well, let's just go to $14 a month. And nobody even balked at it. And no new club that we've opened starting at that higher rate to cover the $35 at that time, nobody has balked at that price. So I think we need a positive outlook on why these funds are needed. I'm glad that we've had people going over the budget line by line to take out what we don't need, but I want to make sure we're not taking out too much. I want financial stability, but I don't want to overstir the pot either.
Thank you, Joe. Dawn, same question.
Yeah, I mean, it may not always be the popular answer, but the answer has to be that there has to be a dues increase. And I think anybody who went and listened to the forums last year or any of those discussions got that information. You know, even those of us who haven't seen the books per se can understand that. We can understand that. I will tell you that our district doubled our dues this past year at the past convention. I mean, an increase that had to happen, that we could think that our organization could survive when everything else and the prices of everything else are increasing, that our organization could survive if we didn't have a dues increase, is probably not true. Obviously, another solution is increasing membership, which we have been working on for years, and that's another thing that we need to work on also. That increases revenue, and it also increases the service we can provide to our communities.
Thank you, Dawn. Scott, same question.
Yeah, I am I am for the dues adjustment. I plan to go and vote for the dues adjustment. And I want to encourage everybody on this call to join me in that. Now, I want to thank the folks who have been promoters of it and those who have been objectors of it. I think it's a great thing that we've had the dialogue, the discussion, a review, and you've been heard. I mean, action has been taken, significant cuts in expenses. So that's been a productive thing, a good thing, but I think it's something that needs to end now. We need to conclude this matter in Denver so that we can move on with our mission. We have really important work to do, and I don't want our workshops and our hallway discussions to just continue to be about the dues increase. I want our focus in part to shift from what we pay to Kiwanis International to making sure that our clubs and our divisions and our districts know what is available to them from Kiwanis International. You know, I told you about the ambitious club opening effort we did in Alabama without a lot of breadth or depth or experience. You know who helped us? Kiwanis International. The resources that they made available to us, the training that was available to us, the staff support from both afar and coming to be boots on the ground. It was amazing. And we got that help because we asked for it. I'll end with this. I know folks, look, membership is essential for me. But in Alabama, the same day the House of Delegates elected me as governor, they passed a significant dues increase, the first one in years. And yet, for over the following 12 months, we had our first net gain in membership in 22 years. So there's not always a negative correlation. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Larry?
You know, the people who are going to be paying the dues, the general membership, and all of us are included in that. What our club members need to know that there's value in what we do. The dues increase, if it was doubled, if it was tripled, if we were able to show value for our service, value for their time, value for the commitment that they're making to the communities and their clubs, if we dwell on value to these members, they're not, if they understand this is a good proposition, I'm paying X number of dollars and I get to be a member of a Kiwanis club. This Kiwanis club is doing wonderful things in our community. Sure, some of our members are going to know that the most Kiwanians in the world are in Taiwan or the Philippines. I don't think many of them care. I think what most of them care about is our club. And if we can show value in our club, and if people realize this is a good value proposition, whatever the dues level is, whether it's the club dues or the district dues, or we even have some divisions that charge dues or international dues, whatever that number is immaterial if the member feels that they are getting a good value for their buck. And I think we need to keep dwelling on we are getting a good value for doing the things in our community that we do. So it's going to be there, but it has to be proven to be a value proposition.
Thank you, Larry. Eric? you're on, you need to unmute, Eric.
You want to make noise over anybody else who was coughing. I just to reiterate, I absolutely supported the dues increase in Minneapolis. I support the $25 dues increase this year for Denver. It's obvious you can't run an organization of 180,000 on what you used to get from 300, 400,000 members. It's just not there. And prices go up. But we have to be able to show our dues paying membership that there's value for what they do. No one joins Kiwanis to pay dues. No one joins Kiwanis to argue about whether we have to have vice governors or regional trustees or boards or how many rings are around the K. They join clubs to do meaningful service and make friends. And that's what we have to reiterate, the club experience. Kiwanis has to keep supporting the local clubs with the materials and the club training to make it a positive experience that people think, yeah, with the insurance, with the training, with what we get, it's worthwhile to be in an organization that does what we do. And that's what we have to stress. But I know we've cut $2 million. I oppose some of the cuts we've made, like doing away with governor-elect training. That was a mistake. That's got to come back. But there are other things we have to continue to work on, and getting a sound financial basis is one of the prime ones. And I agree, pass it, get it past us, and continue to try and grow.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, we have about 11 minutes left. We're gonna do a couple quick rounds, and then we're gonna give you guys each 2 minutes to close up to give some closing comments, and then we'll take care of the day. So you can just shout these out. There's no rhyme or reason on who's gonna go first. Chocolate chip cookies or peanut butter cookies?
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip warm from the oven with a cold cup of milk.
Chocolate
Peanut
chip.
butter.
All right. Okay, now I'm tracking all this, right? Paperback book or a Kindle?
Paperback. book.
Paperback.
Book.
Audiobook. My eyes are tired either way at the end of the day.
Basketball or hockey?
Basketball.
Hockey.
Basketball.
Hockey.
Hockey. Sabres.
Broccoli or Brussels sprouts?
Both.
Broccoli.
Brussels
Both.
sprouts.
I want both.
Little peas.
Early morning or late night?
Early
Early
morning.
morning.
Early
Yay.
morning. Morning.
Yes.
Midday,
Okay, all right.
but
All
not
right.
early morning, so it would have to be night.
You have to be night. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna give you 2 minutes to give us your closing statement for this evening. And we are actually back to Dawn.
Okay. I just want to thank you for this opportunity to speak to y'all tonight. I thought I'd throw in a little Southern speak there for you, y'all, tonight. I do really enjoy this dialogue. I'm so impressed by my colleagues that are running for this position with me. I will say that when I ran for governor, it was the first contested election we had had in a long time, and I enjoyed it. And then when I won, obviously, you really feel that you have to prove your value in your selection. And I hope that you've heard tonight my passion for Kiwanis, my love for service, my dedication to our service leadership programs, and my devotion to making this organization successful in serving our communities and the children and the families that are in our communities, and how important I think that is, both in our local communities and worldwide. So I appreciate your consideration for this position, and reach out if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Scott?
Yeah, it's so good to be with you tonight. Like Dawn, I think we have a great slate of candidates. As Kiwanis, I don't think you can lose. And, I just love Kiwanis, love the K family. I've loved everything about it for as long as I can remember. And I'm just very thankful. I think that when you elect people to office, it's fair to say, what have you accomplished? We need to be good stewards of these opportunities. This isn't about holding a title or about a position, but we need to get results for those who put us in office. And as I mentioned earlier, I just think membership is critical. And I don't want us to think that just because it's been that way for a while, that has to continue. What we did in Alabama, the starting point was to cast a vision, to hold people accountable, and to remind them of why this is so important, to therefore motivate and inspire them. I think if we can reverse our membership trend, it can be done throughout Kiwanis International. So I believe in you. I believe in Kiwanis. Let's not give up. Membership will be very important to me. SLPs will be very important to me because I just continue to see the transformation in these young people's lives. And so we've got to support that and be there for them and make sure they have a future. Bringing younger people into our organization, having some age diversity, that'll be very important to me. And look, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, I don't care what district I'm assigned to, but I'll tell you that if I'm assigned to your district, I'm going to love on you. I'm going to care for you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to be there to support you. And I'm going to do everything I can to help your district be the best that it can be. So thank you for this time this evening. I look forward to seeing you in Denver this summer.
Thank you, Scott. Larry?
It's pretty humbling to be in this position. I kind of came late to the game. We have had some really distinct leaders out of the II district over the years, and there was a pecking order in our district, and I didn't realize, no one realized until after district. Actually, it was at district convention, and I was having a conversation with our trustee Hope. And someone said, "Are you going to run for trustee or not?" And I'm going, "Are you kidding me?" And it was after decon, so we didn't have a vote to endorse the trustee candidate. So we held a Zoom special district convention, and we actually had more people attend the Zoom meeting than we had at decon. And it was just so gratifying and humbling to see everybody do that. But and I think it was because of the relationships that I've built over the years in our district, and I've tried to cultivate them and continue to try to cultivate, as I will with any district that I might be working with. My wife is the current. I've been married. We've been married for 53 years, and I say I'm sleeping with the president for the first time. And she's president of the Sycamore Kiwanis Club, and we've got a couple of grandsons that are in Kiwanis, in Key. One's in Key Club, one's in Builders Club. My wife's the advisor at St. Mary's Builders Club in Sycamore. So, but it's a collaborative effort. That's what we are about as trustees. At least my envisioning it is we have to collaborate with the fellow trustees, and we need to have an impact, as positive an impact on those districts that we get assigned to. And I'm really looking forward to it. And thanks for all your time. See you in Denver.
Thank you, Larry. Eric?
I started out as a chubby kid going to Rotary projects with my dad. And then luckily I got into Key Club and what it showed me. And then I got into Kiwanis 40 plus years ago because I wanted to make an impact. And I believe in that. I believe in what we do. And I believe in the next opportunity at this level. I'm happy to see that the objects of Kiwanis are getting more recognition as they approach the 100th anniversary. And I think for me, the fifth object of Kiwanis sums up what we're all about: to render altruistic service, to form enduring friendships, and to improve our communities. That's why people join Kiwanis, not to talk about other things or worry about whether we spend $8 or $9 on this and that. That's what it's all about. And the time I've spent and the efforts I've made, I've tried to improve that and tried to improve my community, tried to improve my club. My website is ericfortrustee.com. I would be honored and privileged to have one of your 3 votes in Denver, and I look forward to meeting everybody. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Eric and Joe.
Okay. Well, as you've all seen here, we have 5 very strong candidates that want to serve on the board. I think that as I meet each of them, I would be happy to serve with them. They motivate me. Their ideas are the same as my ideas. Or sometimes when they say something, it sparks an idea of something new to do. I believe that I would bring a needed balance and focus to the board that's not been on there for a while. I think that our members deserve the best. And I think our service leadership programs also need that. We have some things that we do really well, and we have other things that we go, wow, this needs help. So I think change is exciting. And it can be good if it's presented in the right way. I know we need this dues increase, and I think as long as we do keep sharing all of the positive things, I mean, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for all the training that Kiwanis International provided. I did not start off as somebody who would come in front of a group here at Zoom. I like to sit in the back room or back of the room at the district conventions because I was socializing. I was just talking with people. I didn't know who the officers were. I was just there having a good time. But the more you became involved, the more you saw what Kiwanis can do when you work together. So basically, I am asking for your vote to help me get elected. And then I know that whatever districts we're in, we are going to have fun working together.
Thank you, Joe. So that brings us to the end of today's program. We are scheduled to be together again, the same group of trustee candidates and myself next Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But I have to put a little glitch in here. Depending on where the Michigan State Spartans basketball team is and what time it is, we may not be able to meet next week because I may be at a basketball game with my favorite mascot, Sparty. So,
Understandable.
I will know more on Tuesday. I shall know more Sunday what time is what we're going on. So I will go ahead and let's plan on being together next Thursday night. If I can't do it, I will find somebody to sub for me because I do have many other questions that I know that I've had a couple of people that have asked me. I'd like to continue that discussion with us. And I think as new candidates to our board, where we interviewed our candidates last week for our vice president, people know them a little bit. So I would like to give you additional opportunities so people get to know you a little bit better. So with that, we'll call it an evening. It's 9 p.m. Eastern time. I hope that everyone has a great weekend and we will see you again. Thank you to each one of you for being with us tonight. Thank you for our audience who's been hidden, and we will see you again next week. So have a great evening.
Great. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.